Hi, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are so excited to have you join us today for our Q&A with Lindsay from Lycon. Welcome, Lindsay. Thank you so much for us. So Lindsay is the president of Lycon Canada and USA, and she is the one that we go to for all of our questions, our ordering. She is our Lycon rep here for us at Alexander, so we're super happy to have her with us today. Just to give you a little introduction of what we're going to do, we have Tiffany on. Tiffany and I, for those of you who are new, are from Alexander's Aesthetics. Alexander's Aesthetics is a wholesale distributor for skincare supplies. We've proudly been carrying Lycon for, gosh, I should know this, 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years? So we're a family-run business. Tiffany has been working in the California office for 10 years. And then I opened the Colorado office here in Louisville, Colorado about 4 years ago. So Tiffany today is in her living room.
I moved from the kitchen outside. You're going to see all aspects of my house.
We're going to see her whole house. And she's going to be doing a demo today once Lindsay just does a little intro on Lycon and who Lycon is. And then we're going to jump into a Q&A. We have a list of questions that you guys have sent us. We also have a question box in your control panel. So if everyone can find that question box, go ahead and go in there. If you've been on these before, we love you to put in where you call in from. We love to see the representation from around the country. So go ahead and put that in there so we know that you can find that question box, because we will be using that later today or later this morning in the presentation. The other thing that I want to point out before we get started is we have some handouts for you. So in the handouts section, we have 4 handouts. We have a presentation from today. We also have a handout, couple handouts on the differences between the Lycon waxes. And we also put in the presentation from a previous webinar that Tiffany did, which was the Lycon product knowledge. So she went through every wax. We're not going to be doing that today. It just takes too long. But she went through every wax that Lycon, that we carry from Lycon, and explained all the differences. So we have a link to that presentation as well. All righty. So with that, Lindsay, I think I will pass it over to you, and I'll pop back on here in a little bit. But real quick, we've got people calling in from Arizona, a bunch from California, a bunch from Colorado. Michelle St. Pierre from Connecticut. Been using Lycon for a long time. We've got New Jersey, Indianapolis, people from all over. It's great. All right, Lindsay, so much. Let me know when you want me to advance the slides. Oh, I guess you guys need to see the slides. That would help.
I think that's helpful.
All right, let me.
Perfect.
All right, get there.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Alexander's, for Wendy and Tiffany. And obviously, I love to talk about everything Lycon, so this is super exciting. And excited to, if you're new to the brand, to introduce you to the brand, but if you're a long-time Lycon lover, to also maybe you'll pick up something today that you didn't always know about Lycon. So just a quick overview of Lycon. Lycon was founded in 1978 by Lydia Jourdain. She, to this day, is still the CEO and full-time operator of the company. She's grown it literally from her stovetop, where she made her first wax when she was 18 years old, and now they're in an 80,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Brisbane. They sell the product to over 75 countries around the world, which is amazing. So it's one of the largest exported product from Australia in terms of wax lines. You know, with that, it obviously has a great reputation around the world as sort of the creme de la creme of waxes. It's a very high quality. Lydia personally checks every single batch to make sure that it's always consistent and high quality. So there's great credibility behind the brand. If you want to switch it, Wendy. Thank you. So this is just a really quick overview of what really sets Lycon apart. So one of the big things for Lycon is it's very economical. So although it is a bit of a more expensive wax, really it comes down to a cost per service. And when you look at that analysis, you're actually using less wax and your cost is actually lower than if you were using a less expensive brand. For example, you can actually get about, from a 1 liter large strip wax, you can get almost 36 half leg waxes out of that. So it goes on extremely thinly. And I think that's something that's really great to have when you'll see the demo that Tiff's doing. You really need to understand how thin a strip wax application of Lycon goes on. That's one learning curve, I'd say, is people are just shocked at how thinly it goes on, and it's still able to really effectively remove the hair. So also in terms of the hot wax, we have a variety of different hot waxes as well that can be applied quite thinly to remove the hair, and you don't have to go over the same area multiple times, so you're saving on product usage. I spoke about how it's a market leader in waxing. One really unique quality to Lycon is we have a type of wax called Lycojet, which I know Tiffany had gone over all the different types of waxes previously. So I won't go too much into detail, but the Lycojet is, we call it our superhero wax. So it can get hair as short as 1 millimeter, which is amazing. It's a hard wax, so it's applied and then removed without a strip. But it's so gentle on the skin, and it can really get those short, stubborn hairs. Lycojet is great for facial waxing, any sensitive area waxing, but we also see a lot of spas who will actually carry Lycojet as like a touch-up wax. So, it eliminates the need to ever have to tweeze, which is great. Some of our other technologies, we have titanium dioxide in a lot of our waxes to help with soothing and reducing redness. So really every wax is made with unique qualities that helps, again, with reducing ingrown hairs, reducing redness, and making sure to pull every last hair. Next slide, Wendy, thank you. So this is just a quick overview of all of the products that Lycon has, our product line. So we do have a hot wax, which is interchangeable with hard wax. In Australia, they do call it a hot wax, and I know that sometimes people are a bit confused. So it is the exact same thing as a hard wax. So it's applied and removed without a strip. It's amazing for sensitive area waxing in smaller areas. So we suggest using a hard wax on facial areas, underarms, bikini, Brazilian, and then if you were doing like a touch-up wax, say with a man's back, it's nice to use around the neck where it's more sensitive. We do have a variety of different hard waxes. In terms of choosing which wax is best for you, there's a lot of great waxes out there, and a lot of it comes down to preference in terms of color, scent. If you're doing a lot of nail waxing, we have a special line for nail waxes. So there's really a wax for everyone, but that said, our waxes work on everyone. So you don't need to have a specific wax. They're great. They're very, adaptable to the different hair types. Our strip waxes also, they come in 2 sizes. So we have a larger 800 ml size, and then we also have a smaller 400 ml. We get a lot of questions about the size of our strip wax containers. So the 800 ml is pretty unique. I would say to this brand, it comes from Australia, where a lot of the wax heaters are a larger pot size. So our 800 ml wax jars will fit directly into our duo heaters, which is amazing. The plastic container won't melt, it's safe to do so, but you can also pop it into a microwave as well. So you have the option of, you either put the strip wax, the 800 ml, right into a heater if you have that, or you can also microwave it and then pour it into your insert if you have a different size heater. So it's very adaptable and easy to work with. A lot of people love the idea that it can be microwaved, because if you're in a bind and you have a client right after and you didn't have your strip wax heated up, or you're late coming to the spa in the morning, you can easily pop it into the microwave, heat it up super fast, and you're ready to go. So it's a pretty versatile container. The 400 ml sizes are smaller, but they will pop into a standard size North American heater. So that's really why we launched that smaller size for people who prefer the smaller sizes. And then just in terms of the different types of strip wax, again, I know Tiff had covered a lot of the products. but we do have a unique technology, which we call our Lycotec technology. And those are, we have the Lycotec white strip wax. It's definitely one of our most popular, I would say. It's got a coconut and vanilla scent, and it goes on so thinly. It's amazing. It's iridescent to the skin. You can hardly see it on. All of our strip waxes leave no sticky residue, and they allow you to pull those hairs really well and don't cause any skin drag. And they're great. I mean, I know that some estheticians are comfortable using strip wax everywhere, and all of our strip waxes, if you are going to use them in sensitive areas, they're great for that. So moving on to our pre and post products, we do have a variety of pre and post products. We have most commonly used would be our cleanser, which we recommend using before every wax and after every wax. So to cleanse the skin, because when you wax, you are opening the hair follicles, and then after the wax to immediately close the hair follicles and provide a soothing feeling to the skin. So we recommend that one for hot and strip waxing. And then our pre-waxing oil we recommend with our hard wax. And then we do have some different options for post-care. We have Tea Tree Soothe is one of our most popular lotions, I would say. The tea tree is antibacterial, so it's great for putting after a wax. You can put it on the face. It's a thin lotion. It's not like a thick creamy one, so it goes quite far. And again, our pre and post products, that's something you can talk to Alexander's. They're great on product knowledge, and they can really recommend what the best option is for you if you prefer to have a lotion or if you prefer to have a more oil-based product. We have a variety. And then retail, this is something that I think right now especially is something we can really focus on in terms of being able to ensure that your clients are taking care of themselves at home right now. So whether that's using an ingrown hair treatment or ensuring that they're continuing to exfoliate or even trimming to just stay comfortable and get ready when they can come back for that wax, that wax won't be as challenging or painful potentially if they're not taking care of themselves. So Lycon has, again, you can speak to Alexander's and they can recommend what products might work well for your clientele. I would say our most popular would be our ingrown hair spray. Which can be used in service and then also as a retail. It's great. It has arnica in it, and it's amazing at preventing ingrowns as well as treating them. And then we have a few exfoliating scrubs, which helps for in between wax treatments to continue to exfoliate the skin. Okay, next slide. Thank you. This is a question that we get a lot. Is Lycon vegan? So there are most of Lycon waxes are natural. However, some are synthetic, so our Lycotec waxes and our Lyco Dream is actually a mixture of pine resin and synthetic resins. So we do have our Lycotec white strip wax and our active gold strip are both considered vegan. All of our hot waxes are vegetarian. And again, it just depends on which resin base is used, if there's beeswax, but we do have a list. If you really want to know the ingredients, we can always provide that. Obviously, this is an important question as people become more aware and they want to, you have clients who are strictly vegan or vegetarian or have allergies. So this is something that we're very aware of. And at any point you have questions, again, Alexander's has all that information. And if not, I can help supply that. So it's a great question. Okay. And then just quickly, I'm just gonna, I know Tiff's gonna do this in her demo and speak about different waxes. I won't spend too much time on it, but one of the questions we get is which wax to use and where. So as I mentioned before, our big thing is we really like to promote the use of strip wax in larger areas. So it's great for arms, legs, back, chest. We recommend it's super fast, it's efficient, it pulls the hairs, and we have different types of strip wax, again, depending on color or scent or what you would like to use. And that's something that, we can talk to you about it, and we can recommend the best wax for you. Okay, next slide. And then, flipping into the hot wax. So I mentioned this before, we really love to use hot wax in small sensitive areas. Bikini, Brazilian, underarms, face, brows, and then, like I mentioned, like maybe around a man's neck if there's any sensitivity there. And then in terms of the different types of hard waxes we have, one of our most popular ones I would say is our Lyco Dream, which is it's a very pliable, easy to work with, especially if you're new to hot waxing. I would definitely recommend starting with the Lyco Dream and getting used to it, the application, before moving on to some of our other hot waxes. But again, all the hot waxes are great. They're all formulated with the finest of resins and also have extra soothing ingredients in them. Okay. And then Wendy, I think this is your slide. If you want it, do you want me to speak about this or?
I can pop in for sure, but you know what I forgot to do, Lindsay, is announce the giveaway in the beginning.
Oh my gosh, that's the most important part.
Yeah. So we, in conjunction with Lycon, are doing a giveaway for today. I don't know if you guys saw that in the, in the posts that our marketing manager for HANA put up. So what we're giving away today to one attendee is the Pinkini kit, which looks like, I'm really bad at like navigating how to show this on the screen. But it looks like this, and let me show you what's inside it. It is wholesale, of course, for estheticians for $89. So it comes with a Pinkini hard wax. It comes with the pre and post products in the Pinkini line. So the cleanser, they all look the same. Cleanser, the pre-oil, and then we also have a finishing lotion as well. And then what also comes in it are 2 items that you can retail to your customers, which is the lightening serum and the Pinkini wash. So that kind of transition. So you have to stay on for the end of we'll do this at the very end of the presentation. We'll pick one person that gets the really nice Pinkini kit. So Lindsay, thank you for supporting us in that. That is amazing. Smells so good too.
Yeah, and just to say the Pinkini line we just launched, so that's a newer line. Last year we launched it. It's been quite popular, and the retail products are awesome. So in terms of being able to provide retail products. Yeah.
So right now we know that everybody, if you're not, some states I know are reopening, but a lot of the sales right now are through retail. So we wanted to make sure you know that Lycon does have a lot of retail options for us. So our marketing manager for HANA put together a really nice portion of our website that if we have time, I'll show you later. But it has all the items in there that you can retail for body care, which is, and also for waxing as well. So one of the really nice ones is that we're doing, and the price has actually dropped on this, is this Lycon trimmer here at the bottom. So we're selling a lot of those, so your clients can use that, not shave until we can actually get them back in to see you for the wax. So those have been a big seller for you, right, Lindsay?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Actually, I will say in Canada, they've just flown off the shelf. It's amazing. Yeah. People, I think, are really, they want to shave, but then they also know that can be uncomfortable. So it's a great option.
Yeah, sure. It really is. It's $22.50 wholesale. Again, we're going to get to this slide, but we do drop ship. So we'll show how that works. Maybe that's actually the next slide. Oh, I'll just go through these. So this is our information. Again, for Hannah, she's so good at this stuff. She did our cute little QR code, which we got really excited about. I know it's probably not that big of a deal to a lot of people, but so you just hold your camera up to that little QR code. It'll bring you to our website. Again, we have 2 locations, one in Colorado, one in California. The California office has been run by my mom for over 20 years. And then I have the Colorado office here. So depending on where you live in the country is who will service you. So here's all of our contact info. And let me just talk a little bit about our drop ship policy so that you guys know that we are drop shipping during this time. There's a few things that we're doing to kind of support the estheticians during this shutdown time for you all. First of all, we've lowered our free shipping minimum. So in normal times, it's free shipping on orders over $200. So we have lowered that to over $100 for free shipping. We again do drop ship. So if you don't know what drop ship is, I'm just going to explain it really quick, and we have a nice graphic to show what it is. But what it is you would place the order with us, and we would send that order directly to your client. So, and in that order, we don't include an invoice. It just is the product that you choose to send to your client. So if you can't get into your office, you can't hold inventory, all those kind of things which are going on right now, We have the inventory here. You place the order online with us. You collect payment from your customer. So we have no contact with your customer at all, and they don't see the price for the products. You take care of that portion, and we will ship it directly to them. So if you want to do that, you can do that through our ordering system online. There's just a little check mark that says drop ship. And there, again, there's great products from Lycon. We also have some new personal protective equipment, PPE, which is the new big buzzword out there. Just so everyone knows, if you're going to be reopening soon, we have masks, face shields, disinfectant, all that, gloves, all those kind of things. So there's a new portion on the website for retail and also for PPE. For those of you that are local, during this time, our stores are closed. We are not allowed to have people in our locations right now. So what we're doing is we do have a curbside pickup. So those of you that are close to the California office, if there's an order that you want and you want to come to the store, you would choose in-store pickup online. My mom and dad and my husband and I are here. We would contact you and figure out a time and date that you're going to pick it up, and we put it outside for you to pick up. So again, that's just for our local customers. So that's a little bit on the retail and the kind of policies that we're doing to support you guys. So we are going to pop in. Tiff, are you going to pop in here?
Yep.
And do your demo, and then we'll go into questions. Oh, look at that.
Okay, so my sweet husband didn't volunteer. I volunteered him for this situation that we have here, right? Since he is locked in here with me. So I have in my living room, I have the Lycotec white, which I love. It's one of my favorites, and I do have the Pinkini as well. So I'm going to use the Lycotec white for his back. I do apologize. I did not marry a hairier man because he legitimately, I think, has 2 hairs maybe on his shoulders. So unfortunately, there's no hair here. I kind of considered drawing it on, but I didn't think that would be that much fun either. So anytime we start, we always start with the cleanser first. Use a little bit of cleanser, the Lycotane. I use it on a cotton pad. If I'm using, especially on larger areas, just wipe it down. Want to make sure everything is clean of dirt, bacteria, right? All of that good stuff. And as a business owner, I like to be semi-cheap-ish, and I will use the oil on the same cotton. I just fold it over. Not that you have to do that. But then just a little bit of oil goes a really long way. Now, when I have a drier client, I will use more oil. Now, with oil, and everyone always, if you haven't seen oil, if you're not using oil yet, you're always like, wait, how does oil work? You want to make sure that you're really massaging it into the skin. If you can tell, I'm actually really pushing and putting a lot of pressure down on his back because I want to make sure that it's not over lubed. Although, let's be realistic, I over lube everything. I like lots of lather. So I tend to overuse the oil a lot, which when that happens, not a big deal. You just wipe it off. You'll see if there is too much oil, the wax will skip. Not a big deal. Remove that, wipe that the rest of that excess oil down, and then you can continue to work. So as Lindsay said, everything goes on really nice and thin. That's one of the beautiful aspects of Lycon, right? So you are going to use less product. Now, when you're dealing with back, chest, same, it's going to be the same pattern. The hair grows straight down. There's a line down the middle of the back, and it grows straight down. I take that line first. So hopefully you can see. If you can't, you can pop into that questions box and Wendy will pop back on and let me know. But hopefully you can tell that it's translucent. You want to be able to see the skin through the wax.
And Tiff, can I just ask you a quick question? Because
Yeah.
we get this a lot. Would you recommend using the oil with the hard wax and the strip in the instance that you do have a dry client? Do you find that that really helps the strip wax as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The nice thing about Lycon too is that the strip wax it's not so sticky. You're not dealing and fighting with that, like, I'm now stuck to you and I can't get off kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I do like that little bit of oil just to create a barrier, whether or not, I mean, I know Lycon doesn't say to use it with the strip wax.
No,
but
I was gonna say, yeah, it's not like always recommended, but there's no reason why you can't. And I know Lydia often promotes it because she said it, like you said, it just kind of adds an extra barrier, especially if your client's dry. So I think it's a great practice. If you have it, why not?
Yeah, just use it all the time for the most part.
Hey, Tiffany, I'm just going to stop
Yeah.
for a second. We got a few people, and I might have missed it. Maybe they can see you now. It was before you popped in. But can you guys just let me know if you can see her? Because we're getting a couple people that are saying we can't see you. They can only hear you. Let's see. Can you guys tell me who? Okay, great. Oh, all right. So the people that can't see her, I'm trying to think. If you're on your phone, you might need to scroll up on your phone or scroll across to see other people. You should be seeing Lindsay and Tiffany right now on your screen.
Yeah. You know what, Wendy, maybe if you stop sharing your screen, it'll make us both bigger.
Okay,
that may help as well.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps you guys see. I can't totally see what you see, so
right.
I'm just guessing. There's my head.
Okay. So it looks like there's some people that can see you. Keep there. Okay, good. I think that was better by turning off the screen. Thank you, everyone.
The screen. Okay.
Sorry about that. They're saying much better. Maybe.
Oh, okay, great.
I hate John to have to go through this again, but I think they missed a lot of that demo.
The first part of it?
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
I do.
Okay, so
maybe one more thing, Lindsay, maybe you can drop off the webinar. I mean, not the webinar, your webcam. Here, I'm going to shut down, and then we can it'll maybe make Tiffany bigger. Okay. Thanks everyone for working through this with us. It's hard to see what you can see. All right, yay, we're getting yays. Got it now. I can see now.
Yay! I like yays.
Okay.
Okay, so you can kind of see that he's slightly pink from where I already went, but even though I've already done this section, it's fine on his skin to do it again. What you really always want to look for when you're working on your client is if there's any kind of puffiness or irritation. Redness, not necessarily, right? People will turn kind of pink no matter what. So redness is not necessarily what you really should worry about when we're looking at the skin all the time. If they're starting to welt or something like that, then you wouldn't want to go over that area. But I mean, him just being slightly pink is not something I'm worried about. So that's also the other wonderful portion, is that Lycon is gentle enough that you can go over the skin multiple times in the same area, right? Without irritating the skin. Now, again, so there's that line that goes, the hair grows down, right? Down the back. Now, the hair grows sideways on both sides, right? So it grows this way, and then it grows in, okay? So the way the back grows down, and then it grows in. So you want to take this, you want to cut this off first. This middle section makes it so then you have a clean edge in the middle to then utilize the rest of the back a little bit easier. Now, when I'm personally working on a larger spot, one of the other big benefits of Lycon, ooh, we got one whole hair here, guys. I'll be really excited to show it to you. You can cover the entire area that you want to work on with the wax. And again, if you can, hopefully, when I get to the other side, I should have done the other side first, guys, sorry. You can cover the whole section and the wax is not going to dry, okay? Which is a big, huge benefit, right? Because you can slap on all of your wax in your one section and then do all of your removal. That does allow things to move a little bit quicker. And as Lindsay had mentioned before, if you can see, I think you can see my pot, I have just the plastic container in the warmer. That's how I have it in my office. That's how I always teach with it. I just think it's easier because I do like the larger container. I think it's throughout the day, it's easier if you do a lot of waxing. But like Lindsay said, it doesn't melt. I got a little sticky. And if you get a little sticky at all, just put a little bit of oil on your gloves, then the wax won't stick to your gloves. But stop what you're doing. Don't just keep waxing if you're sticky, because that tends to be annoying. So, ooh, we got another hair, guys. Or it could be a cat hair that flew over, because we have lots of cats. We'll see. Now, again, it doesn't matter that I've left this on this entire time. It's not dry. So I can go through and take it all off at once. One of my favorite things about the Lycotec, which is kind of why I chose it, is again, it's one of the least sticky ones. The mineral resin that's in here really creates that flexibility, and it's even less tacky than the pine resin. The other nice thing, if you've noticed too, I've been able to use one, granted, let's remember that he doesn't have any hair either, but I'm not using that many strips either. So you don't, because it goes on so thin, you're not using as much product. You're not using as much wax. You're not using as many strips or sticks either. There's that one hair I got, guys. That one. Let's see if you can see that. Hopefully you can. It's very exciting. Maybe there's a couple. He's just laughing. He will laugh anyway because he'll just tell you he doesn't have any hair because he's bald.
We should be sending John a special giveaway as well. Thank you, John.
He realized he just didn't have a choice when I offered it up. Thankfully, he is my wonderful tech guy and a very supportive, loving husband. I've chosen well. He's not hairy, I know, but that's all right. You take what you can get, right, guys? So again, it goes on nice and thin. As you can tell, I think on this side, yeah, you can see that it's obviously white in color, but again, it's nice and clear, it's see-through. You want to be able to see the skin. That means that it is going on a lot thinner. If it's too thick, you're going to have a harder time getting it off as well. It's going to get too thick and it's not going to stick. The whole amount of wax won't end up sticking to the strip, right? You're going to pull it off and you're going to be like, why is there still wax there? Some of the challenges that you guys may also face is the temperature of your room, the temperature of your client, things like that. I run really cold. While Lindsay was talking, I was warming my hands up on John's back, which he didn't really enjoy, but that does make a difference. If your client is cold at all, the wax will tend to stick a little bit more to them because your client's body is so excited there's something warm and moist on them that the wax will stick. The body's like, oh, okay, thank you. There's something warm and moist. I'm going to hold on to that. So you may have a little bit of more of a challenge getting it off. You just want to warm it up, create a little bit of friction, not a ton. If you notice too, I'm not doing a lot of rubbing. I'm not doing a lot of this, right? If you do a lot of this, That's going to create a lot of friction. Plus, it will start to kind of pull the wax apart underneath the skin. So it's just about the pressure. You want to make sure you just apply enough pressure when you're putting that wax strip down. So again, you're not using as many strips. You know, it's kind of anticlimactic since there's no hair, and we all thoroughly enjoy looking at the strip full of hair. As Lindsay said as well, and because I have the Pinkini worm, to show you, when I am doing a back in my actual office, in my practice, I will, when I'm doing the shoulder area, because you want to include the shoulders. Even if, because obviously this is your back, right? But if you have a hairy man, their hair is going to be going down their arm, around their shoulders as well. So if you only do this section, then they have a weird cutout of no hair. So I have them sit up. I'm going to have him face me instead of have so that his back is to you, so you can see his shoulders. And what I tend to do is I do use a hard wax around the shoulder area and around the nape of the neck, because that can be way more comfortable. So John's going to be a little bit of pink right now. He's a nice sensitive man, so his skin can be a little sensitive sometimes, but he's also never had his back waxed either. That was the first time that's ever happened to him, obviously, right? So he's going to be a little bit more pink than normal, but again, this is not abnormal. It's not something I would be concerned about. What I actually tend to do is I will kind of run my hands along it when I'm cleansing. That's what I was just doing. Sorry, guys. I was cleansing the area after as well. When I cleanse, I feel for any extra heat on the skin. That tells me if there is a little more irritation. After, and I do like to cleanse after, because I like to cool the skin down. I like to calm it down. The Lycotec is so great for that. And then I actually have the perfect finish, which is one of the oils. The perfect finish is great. This is a lavender. We also have the tea tree, which is a tea tree instead of lavender. So whatever floats your boat on that. But the tea tree perfect, or perfect finish, or the tea tree, either one, either oil, after a strip wax, because it will kind of, if anything is actually sticky, it will break that down. Now, again, the tea tree, I keep calling it tea tree perfect, because guys, that's what I normally use. The perfect finish with lavender, again, it's that nice oil base. It does have the lavender in there, so it's going to be anti-inflammatory, calming, soothing, all of those great things that we need when we're done waxing. I do like, again, to use the cleanser, the Lycotec first, clean it down again, then use your oil, whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to have you sit up and then face me. Okay, so to get shoulders, because here's the other thing. The shoulders isn't necessarily just this section. You want to make sure that you get all the way around. Oh, we've got a couple hairs over here, guys. The bicep area as well. So I strip wax here, and then I'll use the Pinkini more at the top so you can see what the Pinkini looks like. It does have a nice, the Pinkini has a stronger scent to it than the Lycotec does. So you can't smell. It's not a scratch and sniff, unfortunately. You can't smell what I'm smelling, but. And then Pinkini is a really pretty color pink too, so you'll get to see that as well. Let me get those 5 hairs to bother. Oh, we got one, guys. Just the one though. So the other nice thing, the Pinkini itself, it is that great blend. So there's some flexibility in here. See, it's that nice, pretty pink color. There's some flexibility, but this one does set up really nice and quickly as well. So you can see there's a creamier, kind of creamier texture. and it's already starting to set up for me, right? So by the time you're done, it's set. I like to push on my hard wax. I don't know why I started that, but I do. That also helps set it up a little bit for you. But you can see too, it still has some flexibility. See, it's still slightly stretchy as well, right? Which is kind of fun. We'll do the other shoulder. Into that section. And you can tell already that any of that redness that he had is already starting to dissipate. Nothing on that one, guys. I haven't waxed anyone in almost 2.5 months. I still got it, thank God. Whew. I was getting nervous. If you can see as well how thin the pinkini is going on, it doesn't need to be extremely thick. Sit up a little bit. There you go. See how you can tell how nice and thin it still actually is going on also. It doesn't need to be 8 inches thick. I don't think that was 8 inches what I just showed you, but I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going in at it blind. If you leave any little pieces like that, shiny side to shiny side, a little bit of pressure and it's gone. But see, still flexible. And if you can, I'm standing awkward, let me get closer to you. See how thin it is? Right, so it doesn't need to be that thick going on, right? It can be nice and minimal. So again, we Lycotane, cool it, calm it down. It feels, the Lycotane feels really nice to your client. There's a little bit of slip in here, so it's nice and cool, smells delightful. There's a nice antimicrobial in here as well. After the Lycotane, if you really like your client, but you're kind of like this guy, you know, use a little bit more of the True Perfect. Now, when I'm working in the shoulders, things like that, I kind of massage it in instead with my hands, because that way then I can run them all the way down the back again, really make sure that nothing is sticky. And again, as we remember, I'm an over luber. And so then after that, you can use another piece of cotton, or a lot of times I'll just use a strip and wipe any excess down with the strip. Because you definitely don't want your client to leave greasy and oily either. I mean, you know, we've got a big day over here in our house, got a couple of things to drop off to my clients, and that's about it. Take the dogs for a walk. I'm not putting on a suit. Not today. All right, so that is your back wax, my friends.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Got a lot of great thank yous, Tiffany and John, for doing that. That was really nice for a lot of people to see that. So thank you, both of you. All right. Lindsay, you want to pop back in and we'll go to questions?
Okay.
You.
So also, just I'm going to point out what I have on how I have the pot set up here.
Good idea.
So the Lycon lid, yeah, I don't actually have with me at home. The Lycon lid it's a full size lid, so it covers the whole container. But when you have the plastic container in, it doesn't fit as well. So what I do is I just keep the top to the actual plastic container. I keep that on as my lid for this one. And then we sell these just little tiny silver lids that covers your hard wax perfectly. And I do that in my own office because the whole lid, if I'm not using both waxes, I don't want them both open and exposed the whole time. So that way then I can just keep covering which wax I am and not using. So that's what that looks like.
Okay. Great. So a couple questions on the demo. Someone would like to know what type of oil you're using.
Yeah, so it's the pre-wax oil, right? So the pre-wax oil, it's a mineral oil, large molecule, right? Sitting on the surface of the skin. That's going to be your nice protective barrier. And honestly, this one bottle will last me a good 2 years, right? So I drink the Lycotane, like this sucker is what goes much faster because I do use more of this, but I clean so much, but a little bit of oil goes so far. So I could maybe go through 2 Lycotanes a year and 1 oil every 2. And I wax huge, massive people with actually lots of hair, unlike my sweet husband. So you're not using that much oil.
I was going to say too, a trick with the waxing, with the pre-waxing oil is to tap a little bit on the back of your hand to apply it rather than you're not actually pumping it, and it goes a really long way. I agree with Tiff, like that will last a really long time.
You just want to touch the top. If you push all the way down,
yeah, you have way too much. Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to see if I can do this so you guys can.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Good one.
Seeing even that little bit is kind of a lot. You probably can't see on that hand.
No, I can see it. That's good.
Okay.
All right, let's pop into a couple questions. We got a lot of questions here. So the way we've been doing this for everyone that's on is we're just trying to get through all the questions. Everyone's at home right now. We have the time. Usually, what time is it? So we've got 10 minutes till the top of the hour. So if it's okay with you guys, go ahead and stay on. We're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. So, all right, there's a couple questions. The first question is, what's the difference between Lycojet Lavender and Desert Rose?
So in terms of the base, the Lycojet are the exact same base. So same resin base, essentially the exact same wax. The main difference is going to be your lavender versus your rose scent. So the Lycojet lavender obviously has lavender in it, and it's a purple color. And then your desert rose is more of a reddy, kind of a deeper red, clear based. And it does, I mean, in terms of scents, the nice thing about Lycon is that they don't have a very strong scent, so it's kind of a touch of a scent. It's not going to overpower your spa or overpower your clients. The reason we have the 2 options is some people do have sensitivities to lavender, so there's the option to have the desert rose. I would say in general our lavenders are top selling wax, and a lot of people love that, but in terms of performance they're going to be the exact same. So a lot of it comes down to personal scent or color preference.
Okay, great. Maha has a question just regarding Desert Rose. She says she recently started using Lycon Desert Rose and she loves the result, but she doesn't know how to handle the stickiness. Do you have any tips for that?
So I mean, I'll jump in, and maybe Tiff, you can jump in as well. I would say depending on if your room is really hot, perhaps it's taking a little bit long to set up. It might be a little bit tacky, or if you're applying it too thickly, it might be taking too long to set. One little tip that I know Lydia teaches is to have a cold compress. So whether that's like a paper towel, a wet one that it has a little bit of coldness in it. So if you're working in a hot room, or often in areas like bikini, Brazilian, naturally the client will get a little bit flushed and that area heats up. So you would apply your wax patch, and then you would just hold the cold compress on the wax patch for a few seconds just to further set the wax, and also it's nice for the client, and then pull the wax patch off. But I'm not sure, Tiff, if you can maybe speak to that, if you have any advice on if it's not setting properly.
Yeah, if it's not setting, like you already said, it's a lot of times it's a little thick. What I tend to do instead of, I don't have a sink in my room, So I actually just use the Lycotane on a piece of cotton, and I use that and just swipe it over, because there's a little bit of alcohol in there, and the alcohol actually just pulls any extra moisture out really quickly. So I just swipe that over. I don't necessarily hold it, especially with the jet, because if you suck all of the moisture out of the jet, it will snap.
It will crack.
So I just kind of run it across it quickly. That will help set it up a lot faster.
Okay, great.
Thank you. All right, Lynette has a question. Do you have any ideas for preventing breakouts? Should I forego the oil?
So in terms of breakouts, if we're talking about, is it facial waxing specifically? I mean, the oil isn't going to necessarily cause the breakout. I think depending if the skin's oily or if you know, where you're doing the waxing. Tiff, I don't know if you have experience specifically with facial waxing. Is that what we're talking about? Or are we talking about more ingrown hair breakout? I guess it would kind of depend on what type of breakout.
Okay, Lynette, if you can just respond. Oops, go ahead, Tiff.
No, that's okay. I use oil on every single person. It doesn't matter if they're already oily, if they are breaker outers. I always use the oil. That's not going into the skin, right? So the oil itself isn't going to make your client break out, because again, remember how large that molecule is. It's not going anywhere. It's legit just sitting on the surface. It's legitimately sitting on the surface, right? So because of that, that's not gonna cause the breakout. What you want to look at is what you're using after, right? So after you've done your wax, what are you specifically putting on right after that? If you're putting oil straight on right after, that could cause a breakout, right? If you're using even like the Perfect Finish, the tea tree that I've already talked about, right? Those could maybe potentially make your client break out if you're using it directly after. Because think about what we're doing when we're waxing. You're creating trauma. There's heat associated with that trauma. When there's heat, everything is open. Oil will then get trapped into the follicle. That will make a breakout. Now, backs are one of the more irritating spots for men, and they tend to break out almost the first time, every time. Like it's one of those, I still haven't found the best solution for it. But if you cleanse your client after, again, that's going to help reduce any bacteria that's all of a sudden gotten on the skin. It will cool the skin down. It will start to close those follicles up. Then do the rest of your aftercare. If you're not doing anything right after you're waxing, that a lot of time can break people out. So always look more at your tail end of the waxing service, not necessarily the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Tiff, in terms of cleansing. That's something that is really important, is to always do the cleanse before, because you don't know what's on the skin before you open up those follicles, and then to always do the cleanse after. And I think that's exactly what you said in terms of cleansing is really important.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. All righty, we have a question from Patricia. She said, did you say that hot wax is the Australian term for hard wax?
Yeah. Yeah, so they use, that's what Australia calls their hard wax. It's the exact same thing. So it's totally interchangeable. There's no difference. They just refer to it as hot wax. So, and then strip wax as soft wax or strip wax.
And it's not hot. Lycon is not hot at all. So
right. It's low temperature.
John always, when we were making fun of him, my family, of course, and he was like, going to put hot wax on me. I was like, when have I ever put hot wax on you ever? It's never been hot. It's warm.
Yeah, and I think, going back to that point, in terms of our strip wax, that's one thing that I think takes a little bit of getting used to, is the fact that it is a low temperature wax and it does run really thinly. So when you're heating it up and you see how thin that strip wax is to apply it very thinly, a lot of people think it's too hot, but it's not. It is a low temperature based wax. So I think that's a lot of the mindset of understanding the right consistency for the strip and hard wax for hot wax.
Great. All right, another question. What direction do you apply the wax? I've heard different things.
Ooh, this might be a good one for Tiff.
I'm assuming that we're talking about hard wax, because strip wax, you have to apply it in the direction of the hair growth. There's no, and I've played with it just because, you know, we all like to try things. Strip wax in the opposite direction of the hair does not work. Hard wax, it legitimately does not matter which direction you put it on. Because think about what hard wax is doing, right? You have your hair, and all it's going to do is kind of push it up, and then it's going to grab the bottom of that, right? It's going to get right down to the skin. So if you're, and a lot of times you're in an awkward situation and you're in an awkward stance trying to put wax on. So if you have to apply it up and the hair is growing down, that's fine. If you have to put it sideways and the hair is growing down, that's fine too. The hard wax is going to grab to the skin of the hair. As long as you're applying with enough pressure, it really doesn't matter. I would err on the side of caution. If you are dealing with a little bit longer hair, go in the direction first. And if you have to do another pass, then do it in the opposite direction. But again, it's not, there's no really wrong way to apply your hard wax as far as direction is concerned.
Okay.
And I think the important thing too is when breakage occurs, it's often because the wax isn't being removed in the direction of the contours of the body. So if you're trying to remove the hot wax, you know, on an arm and you're pulling up against it, or you're not running with the contours of the body, that's where you might get breakage. But in terms of application, you're right, the hard wax, it really doesn't matter. It will pick up the hairs quite well.
Okay, great. Thank you. We get that question a lot, so it was a good question. We have a question from Amber here. Can the Pinkini pre and post products be used with Lycojet?
Absolutely. So the Pinkini line, the pre and post products are very similar to our traditional pre and post products. The main difference is they do have extra soothing ingredients in them, just to, you know, they were designed for the bikini Brazilian area in mind, but they will work with every single wax, just the exact same as our other ones. And, you know, you can mix, that's the nice thing about Lycon is it has a system in terms of pre and post products and the waxes, but you can mix and mingle them as much as you want. They don't have to be with specific waxes, which is really great. It's a very flexible process. So you can definitely use them with any wax.
Okay, excellent.
And keep in mind, the Pinkini doesn't have to be for just bikinis and Brazilians.
Exactly.
I mean, I clearly just use it, yeah. So there's the Lycojet, the Eyebrow. I've used that on underarms and stuff as well. It's great. Yeah. It's just fine. So exactly. Don't feel like you're pigeonholed into just that one area. You can use it on everything.
Exactly, 100%.
Okay, great. Another question about Desert Rose, but this would probably also apply to Lavender as well. We have a question from Megan. She says she uses her Desert Rose as the main wax, and even though I run warm and my room does too, I still get some cracking. Should I be laying the wax thicker?
So we always say, I mean, in terms of the wax application, you should mirror the wax consistency and thickness of the hair. So if the hair is thicker, you're going to want a little bit of a thicker application. In terms of cracking, I mean, it's a tricky one. Lycojet can be a little bit tricky. It does set fast. If you're too thin on the edges, or if it's too large of a patch, or you're not removing it in the contours of the body, it can often crack. Tip, would you want to add anything in terms of cracking? I know Lycojet can be a tricky one to learn.
It can. You know what? With the jet, I tend to only lay down 2 strips at once, depending on. It does. I do mirror, you know, what my room is doing, because it's the same, right? We have little tiny rooms that can get really humid. So if it's at the end of the day, I can stretch them out and do like 3 strips down. That keeps them just tacky enough that I can remove. If it's first thing in the morning and my room is 12 degrees, which it a lot of times is, I'll put down, you know, 1 or 2 and do my removal. So I'm not trying to put down 4 or 5 at a time with that one, because that will, most of the time, I think with the cracking, it's either too thin or you just leave it on too long. So maybe a few less strips down at once, or even, and if it does crack, I just throw down a little bit more and then just keep working.
For sure.
Excellent. All right. Can we talk a little? We got a couple questions just on the hard wax and it being a brick and breaking up the hard wax. I have a follow-up question after that. So if you can talk a little bit about breaking up the hard wax and how.
Yeah, for sure. So Lycon's wax obviously comes as a brick, and we get questions all the time, when's Lycon going to come out with a bead? So I will say that Australia, that Lydia is working quite hard to develop a beaded wax. One of the main reasons why it comes as the brick form is just in terms of the actual manufacturing process. Making those beads requires an additional additive to form the beads, and that Lydia's found that it's affected the ability for the wax to pull super, super short hairs. And she's a perfectionist, so she's working really hard to find that perfect beaded wax that's still going to pull those super short hairs. So that's the main reason why Lycon does come as the brick. You'll notice there is a difference also between the Lyco Dream, which is a synthetic and pine resin based wax, comes in 4 pucks. And then the brick is the traditional pine resin base. The main reason, again, goes back to the actual setting temperature during manufacturing. So that's why, for example, the Lycojet wouldn't come as the pucks. Now, in terms of getting the actual wax out of the tin that it comes in, there's a few ways you can do it. One way that we find is to recommend putting it in either, like what I do is I put it in a Ziploc bag or some kind of bag. And then, just finding the corner of either a stair or even a countertop and just hitting it kind of the first half of it and then flipping it and doing the other side. You don't need to hammer it. It does actually break quite easily once it's hit into little pieces. And then you can put the pieces directly into your heater. And I've seen spas take the remaining pieces and, put them in a clear jar that you could pick up at a dollar store just to display it really nice and have it conveniently there when you need to add to your pot. And then the Lyco Dream, it comes in the 4 pucks. So you can actually flip it over and you can just stomp on it with your heel and the pucks will pop out. One trick is if you have time to pop it into a cool, either a fridge or a freezer for a couple minutes before you do that, and the wax will condense and then they'll pop out a bit easier. And then you can also use a hammer. So I've seen, just taking a hammer to the back of the pucks, the 4 pucks will pop out, or putting a brick. Again, we recommend putting it in a bag because sometimes pieces will fall out if you're breaking it. And then you can just hit it with a hammer. But it is a little bit different, but once you get used to it, it kind of becomes a part of the process of your spa, and whether you keep it in decorative jars or you keep it underneath, if you have a space in the store, you just pop them in as you need them. That's sort of the trick to doing it. But it does, would you say anything, Tiff? Is there any super easy way to do it?
It's a lot easier than you think it is. And to be honest, the big chunks are easier to deal with than the beads, because if you open those, there's been plenty of times I've opened beads and I lose half the bag all over and it makes me cry a little. We actually, if you go to the Alexander's YouTube channel, we do have a whole bunch of videos on how to break that up as well. They're really short, but for Hannah and I did those, I think, last year. So those should be, you can always tell what year it is by my hairstyle because I change my hair all the time. That's how I tell how much time has passed. But yeah, we do have videos that can help you.
I'll go online here in a little bit and show our website and show everybody. We have links on our website to the YouTube videos. And there's also one that Lydia does as well that is a good one on how to break up hard wax. So I'll show you where you guys can find those videos.
Yeah, so here's an example. This is just a dollar store jar that I got. This is the Pinkini, and I just had this on the counter, and you can just take the pieces out. You can see the pieces are still quite large chunks. So it doesn't shatter when you hit it. It breaks into chunks, which is nice.
Okay, awesome. All right. Tiffany, Luis would like to know what kind of gloves you were using because they look a little longer than the norm.
They are not actually. They are just, it's the kind that we sell. You can't see that. It doesn't matter which way I put it because it's backwards. Oh, okay. These are the SkinTech vinyl. I like vinyl small when I'm waxing because the wax won't stick to the vinyl. It'll slide off. It's much easier to work with to me, and I can twirl pretty easily with it. But these are the ones that we carry at Alexander's.
Yes, thank you. Perfect. All right, can we talk a little bit about a couple questions about the ingrown exit? People would like to know a little bit about the ingredients that are in it and retailing it to your customer.
Yeah, for sure. So it has salicylic acid in it, arnica, and it is an amazing product. So it's a spray. So which is quite different to a lot of other products out there, when you're using it in service, it's so easy to just quickly spray back or spray legs. If you're using it on the face, we recommend to just put it on a cotton pad and then apply it rather than spraying the face. It's nice. It doesn't burn the skin at all. It goes on and is more soothing. And it is a great retail product, so that your customer can take it home. They can use it in between services. I personally get a lot of ingrown hairs, and I find it's one of the most effective ones that I've used. And it's a great retail product to offer. And at this size, so I believe it's 125 ml, and it retails for around $26 to $28. And I mean, your client will have that for months. It really goes a long way, for sure.
It's super easy. It's really good for your male clients too, because they can just spray their back. They don't need someone to help them put it on. I like it because it is easy just to spray when you get out of the shower, and then that's it. I've found that one is probably one of the easiest ones to retail. Plus, you're not it's just coming out of the bottle. You're not putting anything back into it, kind of thing. So I think it's sanitary and easy.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. All right, questions about trimming. Is it necessary to trim before waxing my clients? And if so, do I charge for that service or do you include it?
Tiff, I'm gonna add this one to you.
I personally trim first. It's not always necessary, but it depends on your client. If I have one of my, I will end up having to trim everyone when I get back to the office, because it's been almost 2-3 months by the time I get to see most of my clients again. So it does make it easier. I really started doing it when I started waxing a lot more men, and when I started doing male Brazilians years ago, because they don't always want to take everything off. So I do like to trim it up first. How I charge with the larger spots and the ones that you're not sure what it's going to be when they walk in, I have a sliding scale. So I have a sliding scale for my Brazilians for that reason. It's between 65 and 85, because if I have to trim you, that always means that there's way more to clean up as well, right? So I've always been really diligent about cleaning everything up when my client's done, but that also means that there could be hair flying, which means that I have to actually clean the floor. I have to vacuum the floor as well, which I don't always have to do in between every client. I have to make sure that all of my equipment is wiped down as well, because again, if there's hair flying, so it takes a little bit longer. So I do charge, but again, it's in that sliding scale. So that way it's not, if I have to trim you at 75, because maybe it'll be less for one client and not so much for another. If you're only doing a Brazilian and they're super hairy on their chest and their legs, I trim everything up around it as well, so everything is neat and tidy. I would charge more for that. So I do charge, yes. It's just not necessarily, I personally don't do like a set price for it.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, last question, and then I'll run in to do a quick demo, and then we'll do the giveaway. So last question is, what is the difference between your wax from Lycon and a brick, or a, we call it like a hockey puck for the Lyco Dream or the White Hard, and beadwax? Megan feels like beadwax has more of a plastic feeling. Do you know the difference?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think so the Lyco Dream is a combination of the Lycojet and then the Lycotec white hot wax. So it's a combination of a pine resin and a synthetic resin. So it's going to be honest, it's one of our top sellers. It's amazing. So it's super pliable. So it's going to have that pliability of a synthetic resin, such as the Lycotec white hot or a bead wax, or most beads, I guess you could say. But it's going to pull super, super short hairs. So the Lycojet is really what pulls our really, really short summer hairs. So having that combination is, it's great, because it does go on a little bit more thinly, I would say, than our traditional hot waxes, such as like the Rosette hot wax or the So Berry. But it can also go on in a larger patch, and it will pull those super short hairs still. In terms of the main difference with beads, I guess, again, like I said, it depends on what additives have been made to allow that wax to form the bead. The Lycotec white hot wax is a pure synthetic based hot wax. The reason we have that is, again, it's a super pliable wax. It's great for, waxing sensitive areas, but it's also good if any of your clients have any kind of allergies. So or is also vegan. So if any of your clients have allergies to beeswax or any of the like lavender, the Lycotec white hot is going to be your safest bet for allergies. But in terms of its strength, it's not going to be quite as strong to pull those super, super short hairs as the Dream or as like the Jet. And that's kind of the main one. So I mean, it's hard for me to say in terms of comparing it directly to different beaded wax, but and Tiff, you have more experience with working with different beaded wax. But I would say in general, the Lyco Dream is going to be one of your best waxes to choose in terms of getting that pliability like a beaded wax, but also pulling super short hairs.
You're really talking about the resins, right? We're talking about the strength of the resin. It's not necessarily that a bead is more, I do understand when you are saying it feels more plasticky, I get that part. You have less of that texture in Lycon, but it's truly based on the type of resin that's in there.
Exactly.
Because we do carry other wax brands, right? We know that we carry the Ceratil and Etal wax as well. Those two are very similar because they do have the beads, and their performance is the same, but their resin is very similar to where Lycon's is nothing like those. So that is where you're going to feel that texture difference in there. It's the pine resin that Lycon uses. Nobody else has that. So it's a little bit smoother. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. That's all the questions. Let me just pop my screen up here really quick. I just want to show our website really quick. Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, so, where did it go? There it is. Okay. So you go to alexanders-aesthetics.com or alexanders-aesthetics.
You're on the questions page.
What's that?
You have to share, you're on the questions page. You have to share your internet page.
Okay, let me do that. Hold on a second here, everybody.
So this is really cool what she's going to show you that Farhana worked really hard on. And in all of these, we always praise Farhana, who refuses to get on with us, but one of these days. But she made this it's really cool what Wendy's about to show you, because it really helps you not have to search our website for all of the retail items that you'll be able to drop ship to your client, all the PPE products. There you go. Now that's up. So Farhana made it really easy for you to use.
Right. All right, so we are one company, two locations, so it doesn't matter if you put in Alexanders-Aesthetics2 or Alexanders-Aesthetics.com. This map will come up depending on where you're located. This is just where you are going to get serviced from. We have two different warehouses just because we keep our inventory separate so we can, get our clients the products as quickly as possible. So if you are in the western part of the US, we'll go ahead and click on that. That's going to bring us to the California's website. Down here, these are the two areas that Farhana put together just to make it a little bit easier for you guys during this time. Here are the retail products. It's broken down into categories. Obviously, we would be, for Lycon, the hair remover retail would be here, and there's also some information, some products in the body care. You have to have a approved account on our website to see any prices. So right now I'm not logged into this website, which is why you don't see any prices, which means your customers will not be able to see any prices unless they have an approved account, which they wouldn't because they're not a licensed esthetician. So once you get an account online, you have to log in order to see pricing and order any of these retail items for your customers. So that's kind of where you can go to get any retail items. And then I wanted to also show you our COVID-19 safety supplies. So you can quickly find, some different things that we have right now to help with the plans for reopening, as there's different requirements in different states. So you can go there and then also just give us a call if you have any questions about this. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is classes. So you may have been here, but we do have, we're kind of wrapping up our webinar series because places are starting to open up. But we do have recordings of previous webinars. They're all listed here. You just click on this link. So the Lycon one will be added to the bottom of this list, probably by the end of today or tomorrow. And then what I wanted to do is scroll down to online education. Here is some links to some different YouTube videos from Lycon Wax. So how to break up your wax, a demo of a hot eyebrow wax, and a Lycojet lavender facial demo wax as well. So those are some links that we thought would be important to show you all. All right, anything else, Tiff? Lindsay?
Nope.
All right.
Thank you so much.
So the winner is Megan Taylor. Thank you, Megan. I believe she is serviced by the California office, so we will get that sent off to her. This is what she won. We're super,
Yay.
wish we could give one to everyone. But thank you, Lindsay, for supporting us and being an amazing partner to us.
No, thank you. This is great.
Miss seeing you in Las Vegas this year. But we'll see you hopefully soon. And thank you all. Please feel free to call us with questions. We are here for you. And we hope to see you in, excuse me, that was my phone. Hope to see you in another webinar coming up. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Thank you.